So I'm Senator Ed Markey, and we welcome you here this morning to the Boston Healthcare for the Homeless program. And it's especially appropriate that we're here at this time of the year when this institution does so much good work for those who are most in need. In a few moments, we will be hearing from its Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jesse Gator, and a patient, Cheryl Malloy, who will both talk about the inspiring and innovative work done here to treat individuals with opioid and other addictions. The doctors, the nurses, the counselors who work here at Boston Healthcare for the Homeless are really a litany of saints who dedicate their lives to helping people who need help within our community and who help bring the healthcare services to people who need them there 365 days a year. I'm here today to talk about the need to provide more funding for the programs that are provided here. We're at a critical juncture in this Congress as we come back. There will be only a few days left before the Congress adjourns. We have to ensure that we provide the funding for treatments which is going to be needed to ensure that we give to those who are in need the help which is necessary to treat their addictions. That's what people here do every single day of the year. It is their life, it is their passion, and we benefit tremendously from all of their good work. We have an epidemic here in Massachusetts. We have an epidemic across the entire United States of America. Let me give you the numbers. In 2013, in Massachusetts, there were 900 overdose deaths in Massachusetts. In 2014, it shot up to 1,400 overdose deaths. In 2015, it went up to 1,750 overdose deaths. And by December 31st of 2016, the estimate is that 2,000 people will have died from overdose deaths in the state of Massachusetts. Let me give you another set of statistics. That's on fentanyl. In fentanyl, last year, 57% of all of those who died, of the 1,750 who died last year, had fentanyl in their system. This year, it is estimated that 75% of those who died from opioid overdose deaths will have fentanyl in their system. So, think about it this way. If Massachusetts, which is 2% of America's population, was replicated across the entire country, you could just multiply our 2,000 by 50. And you would have 100,000 deaths in the United States this year from overdoses, with 75,000 of them having fentanyl in their system. Well, the number isn't going to reach 100,000 this year across the rest of the country because the rest of the country doesn't have an epidemic at the magnitude that we have here in Massachusetts. We are at the top of the list of those states most adversely affected by this opioid epidemic. However, if we don't do something about this, if we don't provide proper treatment, if we don't put the proper prevention programs in place, if we don't have a comprehensive program, then we are quickly going to reach a point where 100,000 people do die across our entire country. What would that mean? That would mean the equivalent of all the lives lost in 2 Vietnam Wars every single year in the United States of America attributed to opioid overdoses. Let me give you a comparison to the 2,000 people who are going to die this year in Massachusetts from overdose deaths. We lose 200 people each year in Massachusetts to firearm-related murders and suicides. 200. There are 300 motor vehicle-related deaths in Massachusetts each year. 300. At the peak of the AIDS epidemic in 1994 in the state of Massachusetts, 1,156 people died in our state at the peak of the AIDS epidemic. In Massachusetts, again, this year, 2,000 people going to die. A doubling since 2013. And so we have to treat this as the crisis which it is. Breast cancer claims 45,000 lives each year. Flu and pneumonia claim 55,000 lives. We're looking at an average of 100,000 each year if we do not stop this crisis. And so Senator Tammy Baldwin and I have written to the leaders of the Democrat and Republican Party insisting on $1 billion being put into the budget for treatment for opioid diseases across our country. As we end this Congress, we cannot continue to avoid this absolute imperative for our country that we deal with this issue. Back a year and a half ago, I introduced legislation calling for $1 billion. That has been ignored for the last year and a half. Senator Jean Shaheen from New Hampshire, she asked for $600 million. That was rejected by the Republicans. I joined with other Democrats and went to the floor just 4 months ago and once again demanded $1 billion for treatment for this crisis. That was rejected. And so now we come down to the final 2 weeks of this Congress. This crisis is not going away. It must be dealt with at the magnitude of crisis which it was. We're here on the Methadone Mile in Boston, where we have this incredible epidemic. Well, there's another mile that's down in Washington. It's the Money Mile, the big pharma, and the physicians who don't want to have mandatory education across this country ruled for the last 20 years. So if we're going to change the dynamic in this country, then we need to draw the attention of the Congress to this issue and what an urgent problem it is, especially during the Thanksgiving and Christmas season. So we're here at our place of refuge for so many thousands of these people. Our neighbors, our friends, who never thought that they would have this problem. And what I'd like to do is ask Dr. Jesse Gator to please come up and to explain to you what they do here and why they need the additional resources to deal with this.
Thank you, Senator Markey. We're so glad that Senator Markey is here on the front lines of this crisis to push Congress for more resources, to address what we would describe from this vantage point as a public health emergency. The people who live and work and stay in this neighborhood, and many like it across the country, know firsthand how critical resources for treatment for substance use disorder are. And they need to be increased now. It's been the case for years at this point that drug overdose kills more of our patients at Boston Healthcare for the Wellness Program than any other disease, including heart disease, including cancer. In Massachusetts, we've seen tremendous leadership from Governor Charlie Baker and his administration, and in Boston, from Mayor Mari Walsh and his administration on this issue. And with the support from the city and the state, we've taken so many measures as a program to mitigate deaths in recent years. I'm going to explain some of the ways that we've been responding on the front lines, and then I'm going to tell you that it isn't enough. Over the past 4 years, we've consciously made a very big effort to address stigma that still exists, even within healthcare settings, that impacts every aspect of our relationships with our patients. We've taken a very critical look at our own prescribing practices. We've recognized the contribution that we make as prescribers to this crisis, and we've revamped our guidelines for the treatment of chronic pain. We've made sure that every physician in our practice, and soon nurse practitioners and physician assistants, can and do prescribe medication-assisted treatments as part of a strategy that is well integrated with intensive behavioral therapy. I'm proud to say that half of the primary care physicians and psychiatrists in our practice have actually become dual certified in addiction medicine in response to this crisis. We've decreased every barrier that we can to treatment on demand, including bringing treatment directly into shelters and directly to the street. We've distributed naloxone rescue kits broadly across our patient population. And importantly, newly, we've engaged people who are actively using heroin and fentanyl and who are at the highest risk of death in a non-judgmental program aimed at reducing the harms and preventing fatal overdose called SPOT, the supportive place for observational treatment downstairs. But as the Senator explained, despite these efforts and so many more on a state and city level, and despite the attention that this issue is receiving in the media and with the public, overdoses in Massachusetts continue on an upward trajectory in 2016. This is why we're losing sleep at night. In fact, in this building alone, we resuscitate between 2 and 5 people every single week from overdose. We are drowning in overdoses. We need more help from our federal government. Most of the people we serve want treatment. And the addiction service providers in this neighborhood are poised and eager to help people access treatment. There just isn't enough capacity in the system. By treatment, we mean any type of evidence-based treatment a person wants, including key components like medications, methadone, buprenorphine, naltrexone, behavioral therapies, and recovery support services. In the Surgeon General's groundbreaking report on addiction in America released last week, he asserts that only 1 in 10 people with substance use disorder in this country receive any kind of treatment for these things. As is explained in his report, the primary goals and the general management methods for treatment of substance use disorders are the same as those for the treatment of any other chronic illness. The goals of treatment are to reduce symptoms and improve health. We have to make treatments that work available to many, many more people on this block and across the country if we're going to bend the curve of overdose deaths downward. Please give us the resources we need to treat this disease and prevent death.
And now we're going to hear from Cheryl Malloy, who will talk about the inspiring work that she's doing here in Boston.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cheryl. I'm recovering from my opioid use disorder. I'm here to let you know a little bit about my story. I was born in 1982, so that makes me 34 years old. I grew up in the South Shore and I came from a domestic violence family. My father also struggled with substance abuse and was in and out of the penitentiary because there wasn't treatment back in the 80s. When I was 13 years old, my mother left my father for good to help through the resources of domestic violence shelters. I am the oldest of 4. I have one sister that's a year younger, her name is Kelly, another sister that's 4 years younger, her name is Christina, and another younger brother that's 8 years younger, his name is Tom. Later on in life, I was able to get married and even buy my own house kind of by the age of 21. I thought life was supposed to be about having goals, working hard, and obtaining those goals. And I would be content after I accomplished the goals that I set for myself. Once I accomplished all the goals I set for myself, Soon after these successes, all three of my sisters and I began using together because we had access to opiates through one of my sister's boyfriends. 5 years after we began using together, I realized the seriousness of my disease of addiction and how serious it takes a toll on the family. I lost my sister Kelly to an opioid overdose back in 2007. Prior to Kelly's death, she was seeking help and there wasn't enough treatment centers to find out the level of care she needed. I had a letter from her emailing to me the day after she passed away, saying that she had one more run in her, but not another recovery. She just wanted to use one more time. But this is tragic. This is tragic and it shocked me into seeking help for myself. In 2008, I was blessed with a baby girl. Her name is Lillian. When I was pregnant, I was able to seek treatment and maintain my recovery while on the 7-Tex program. And I had a healthy baby girl and was placed into women and children's sober living community for 2.5 years, where I managed to go to vocational school to be a medical assistant, and I was able to get a housing voucher and get my license back so I could drive to Once I got my housing voucher, I moved shortly after that to Braintree. And we started working 50 hours a week in the medical field. I felt like I couldn't tell anyone about the disease I had, not even the doctor I worked directly for, because I was afraid of his job. I became overwhelmed when I relapsed in 2012 because after having these 4 years sobriety, I lost all contact with my therapist, my network, and anyone to do with helping me with my addiction problems. Shortly after my relapse, my daughter was removed from my care. I had to face my family. My family thought I was cured from the disease of addiction because I activated sobriety. And because of the success I had when I was in sobriety, they thought they didn't have to worry anymore. Over the next 3 years after my daughter was removed, I've been struggling to put together any free time. But it was suggested to me in August of 2015 to get on this Suboxone treatment team at Boston Healthcare for the Homeless. And I was exhausted and tried every other attempt to get sober every other way, and it didn't work. They were able to get me in about 5 weeks, and they started me on the Suboxone treatment program. I was homeless at this time, and it was hard for me to maintain sobriety. And they didn't shun me. I wasn't afraid to go to the doctors like I had always been before, because I knew I could say I'm trying, but yes, I still use. And they would still prescribe me my medication, although I was still using, because a lot of places don't. But at Boston Healthcare for the Homeless, here's more about the patient succeeding than what they thought are done. I was able to maintain an apartment in December of 2015, and then shortly after Boston Healthcare for the Homeless, Suboxone team were able to get me into a detox. But even that, with the help of the treatment team, it took me 7 days to get a bed in the detox. Thank God I still decided I wanted to get clean after 7 days. Because that was 7 days of that were fun out there using. The clinical staff worked to support me through all my struggles, and I'm still working to support me through all my struggles. Since January 14, 2016, I've been remaining sober and in recovery, thanks to Boston Healthcare for the Homeless Suboxone support team. It's not just the Suboxone medication that helps me with my recovery, it's the therapy, the relapse prevention, the Suboxone clinic, the coping skills, the trauma work that we do, and just the weekly visits where I get a smile when someone knows my name and someone says good job. That goes a long way when you're in active recovery. 6 months ago, someone from Suboxone came up to me and even offered to go to court with me to try to help get my daughter back in my life. I mentioned my sister Kelly. My sister Christine is still out there using. She has endocarditis and a staph infection. She's too scared to go into treatment because she's afraid she'll be arrested. I've explained to her the treatment that I've received here at Boston Healthcare for the homeless, but she's still too scared to come in. I hope that when she's ready, that this place is still here to help her. So through this journey, I've been able to secure an apartment and have overnight visits with my daughter. I will leave you with this. In the last year at this time, I was homeless and unable to talk to my daughter on Christmas Eve and say I love you, Mommy loves you, and Merry Christmas. But this year, because somebody believed in me, like my daughter believes in Santa Claus, I'm able to have this night overnight Christmas in place of Santa Claus. I just want to thank you for this opportunity to let me speak, and something isn't done about this epidemic. We're going to know everyone in this room and everything we can know every adult, no matter where they're at. Thank you.
Showing the courage of standing up for so many other millions across this country. You're a hero. The heroes need help. The people who are here are heroes, but heroes need help.
So I called the Surgeon General a year and a half ago, Rebecca Markey, and I told him that the single most important thing he could do for our country was to produce a Surgeon General's report on the opioid epidemic. He told me that usually it takes at least 2 years. I said, we don't have time. You should begin it now, and you should try to finish it sometime next year. So that Surgeon General's report was released last week. And it is a blistering, scalding indictment of business as usual in this country with regard to this opioid epidemic. In 1964, the Surgeon General released a report on smoking. At that point in our country, 50% of all adults smoked. But that Surgeon General's report helped our country to turn the corner. We're down to only 20% of adults. Much too high, but a dramatic change for the good in terms of the number of Americans who smoke. And unfortunately, for too many of them, ultimately, it could lead to death, as it did for my father. So here we have another situation where the Congress has an opportunity to provide the funding for the experts, provide the funding for the families who need this help. So far, this Republican Congress has turned a deaf ear to these families. We passed a bill in July of 2016 on the opioid epidemic, but it had no money in it. A vision without funding is an hallucination. Without funding for these programs, without funding for these families, it is nothing more nor less than a false promise, an illusion of help without anything that is there that actually gives the tools to the experts that help these families to put them into treatment. The threat here on the streets of Boston, the threat here all across Massachusetts, the threat across the country to families is absolutely rising exponentially. These families are much more likely to be threatened by the terrorist call that another member of their family has now found that they are addicted to opioids than any threat that's going to come to them from the streets of Alaska. The terrorist walking our streets is opioids. It's prescription drugs, it's fentanyl. That's the threat. Here in Massachusetts this year, 2,000 people are going to die. Next year, unless we put more funding, tougher sanctions against those who are selling on the books, that it's only going to increase and then increase and then increase again. And that's why we're here during Thanksgiving and Christmas season. Because this is the greatest gift that the United States Congress can give to the families of the United States. This is the #1 issue in our country. This is the #1 most ignored issue in our country. We have to make sure that we put the funding in place for these families. Without that, we're just going to see a continued dramatic increase in the number of opioid deaths here in Massachusetts and across our country. So we thank all of you for being here, and our hope, Gene Shaheen and I and Kenny Baldwin and dozens of other members of the House and Senate, is that we can force through this funding that will make a difference for families across our country. So we thank you all for being here, and if there are any questions that you might want to pose.
Senator,
Yes.
why is it come down to the very 11th hour in Congress to get this money through? And if it doesn't happen, now I think you're handicapped the odds of it getting through, and if it doesn't happen, does it get more difficult under President Trump than it was under Obama? Why hasn't it happened under President Obama?
Thus far, the Republicans have not wanted any new spending programs, even for an emergency like this opioid epidemic. So now it comes down to the final 2 weeks, and we have a chance before business closes for good on this Senate and this House of Representatives and this presidency to make sure that we fight hard for this funding. I yesterday had an emergency call in which I put together most of the advocacy groups for the country so that they would be calling into the House and the Senate members demanding that there be funding. And I think if we turn the corner and we head into next year and we're into a new administration, a new House and Senate, it's been a year and a half and we've received no funding. I think that this is our best chance that we're going to see. And we need to do it as a price to end this Congress. The price is to help these millions of families across the country who are crying out.
I'm sorry, Senator, you think it's possible? It almost sounds like you might be a little optimistic with the new Congress coming in, or you feel like this is it?
No. I think our best chance is in the next 2 weeks in this Congress as it concludes business. I think if the families, the providers of these services across the country rally, pressure the House and Senate, that we have a chance to get $1 billion. But the more intensity that we're able to bring to this crusade is the higher the number that we'll be able to extract from this Congress that can be given to the professionals to take care of.